Some games arrive with quiet confidence. Others arrive with 10 years of hype, fun theories and memes about the release dates. And then there's Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord, the sequel everyone wanted but nobody thought would actually come out. After 8 long years of teasers, early builds and the eternal promise of soon, it finally launched in 2020. It was the evolution of everything taleworlds had built. Bigger armies, deeper systems, better graphics and calradia reborn. But did Bannerlord live up to the decade of anticipation? Did it perfect the formula or did the ambition once again clash with the reality? Let's find out by diving into the full story, gameplay and legacy of Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord. The story of Bannerlord begins right after the triumph of Warband. By 2017, Taleworlds Entertainment had gone from a husband and wife indie studio to one of the Turkey's most respected developers. Warband had proven the formula, but everyone wanted more. Work on Bannerlord officially started around 2012 and it quickly became one of the most ambitious projects in indie development history. Taleworlds aimed to rebuild everything from the ground up, a brand new engine, advanced AI, improved siege systems, dynamic economies and a full prequel story set 200 years before Warband. But as the time went on, Bannerlord became, well, kind of a meme. Fans joke about it being in development hell. Every gaming forum had one thread asking, is Bannerlord out yet? Taleworlds, however, stayed quiet. They were building something massive and they didn't want to rush it. Finally, in March 2020, after 8 years of waiting, Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord launched in early access. The timing was unintentionally perfect. People were stuck at home during the pandemic and suddenly thousands of players were charging into medieval battles from their living rooms. Despite the long wait, the reception was explosive. Over 200,000 concurrent players on Steam in the first week made it one of the biggest early access launches ever. Though let's be honest, half of those players were just testing if their PCs could survive 1000 man siege without turning into a molten metal. Development continued through early access until the full release on October 25, 2022. It had improved massively, better AI, diplomacy, smoother battles and an economy that actually made sense. It was the longest journey in the series' history, but in many ways it was one worth waiting for. If Warband was about refining freedom, Bannerlord was about expanding it. Everything is bigger, deeper and more detailed, a full medieval simulation that makes calradia feel alive again. You begin as always with almost nothing, a sword, a horse and a handful of recruits, and an entire continent to conquer. But this time the world around you breathes. Lords ride between cities on real errands, caravans trade along roads, bandits hunt travelers, and the map feels like a living organism. Progression is smoother now. You start as nobody, fighting looters, trading grain, winning small tournaments and slowly grow your clan's influence. You recruit companions, rise armies and carve your place among the great kingdoms. Skills improve by use. Invest your time swinging swords, leading troops or running caravans and the corresponding skill trees level up naturally. Combat builds on Warband's directional system but adds weight, impact and physics that make each swing feel brutal and consequential. Sieges scale up too. Catapults, ladders, siege towers and thousands of troops on the walls combine the cinematic if chaotic assaults. Bannerlord also added more life sim mechanics. You can court and marry NPCs and yes, you can have children. Married couples can produce children. Children grow up and you can eventually designate an heir so your clan continues beyond the death of your main character. The family dynasty layer is functional. Children are born under certain conditions. For example, how much time you spend with your spouse. I mean, heck, I took my spouse to the battlefield and somehow we made kids, so that's that. Then they age and they can inherit soldiers and thieves, which matters for long campaigns where legacy is important. This is a true dynasty mechanic meant to let players continue their campaigns through later generations. That said, Bannerlord's scope meant the team had to prioritize. And players quickly noticed some things that either arrived pared down or were absent compared to expectations and the older warband experience. Community threads pointed out features that fans remember from warband or from early Bannerlord previews that felt missing or scaled back in the early full release. Classic feast and poetry mechanics, certain books and skill scroll systems, detailed companion personal quests, and unique arc behaviors, some of the old village thief micro options, certain script and town events, like for example assassination events or wandering manhunters, and the old style marshals, war targets, treaty timers, diplomacy options. Some of those are design choices replaced by different systems, others were simply planned and teased features or mechanics that never shipped in the same form players expected. Visually, emotionally, and mechanically, Bannerlord aims to be a simulation of a medieval world, not a checklist of features. But where features are missing, the community stepped in. Thousands of mods restore or rework old warband mechanics, improve UI and add a lot of quality of life features, and add new campaign and multiplayer modes. If you want the warband plus Bannerlord hybrid experience, the mod scene already has many of those missing pieces. Set 200 years before warband, Bannerlord acts as a prequel to the fall of Calradian Empire, its own take on Rome's collapse. Factions fight for dominance. The disciplined emperor, nomadic Kuzaites, noble Vladians, wrecked Strugians, forest-bound Batanians, and the desert Asarai. You begin as a clan leader rebuilding after tragedy. The main quest nudges you to reunite or destroy the empire, but the narrative is yours to craft. And if your story involves accidentally starting 3 wars because you hit the wrong dialogue option, well, that's still a story. At launch, critics called Bannerlord a living, breathing medieval world. IGN praised the ambition, and the PC gamer joked it felt like early access even when finished. I guess fair enough. Players meanwhile loved the scope, but they noticed the rough edges. Community threads listed missing or half-realized features, as we mentioned feasts, companion arcs, certain town events, and diplomacy options. Taleworlds responded with steady updates, adding and polishing those systems, but few features still remain mod only. Still, the numbers speak volumes. Millions of copies sold, thousands of active mods, and thriving multiplayer scene year later. Most agree that by 2023 Bannerlord had achieved the vision Taleworlds promised, a massive moddable medieval sandbox that finally felt complete. 10 years, one dream, and countless siege towers later, Bannerlord stands as both sequel and a statement. It survived meme-level delays, impossible expectations, and still emerged as one of the richest sandbox RPGs ever made. It's not flawless, let's get this straight, no Mount & Blade game is, but its imperfections are part of its soul. Every broken ladder, every horse ragdoll, every chaotic battle is just calradia being calradia. And honestly, if you can command 500 men while your horse cartwheels off a cliff, you're basically mastered medieval leadership. But with all of that said, you know, the drill. It's the end of the video. Thank you guys for watching and see you guys in the next video.
Peace to you, stranger.
Well now, stranger. Peace to you.
It's been a while. Peace to you, stranger.
On my orders! Follow me!
My greetings to you.